Welcome to this Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Committee meeting of this February the 6th, 2017. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Aristide? Here. Ms. Cobo? Here. Ms. Cohen? Mr. Each?
Here.
Ms. Estime Irvin? Ms. Geimer? Here. Mr. McDermott?
Present.
Dr. Millian?
Hi.
Dr. Moise is out of town, out of the country.
Yes, he is.
Mr. Reynolds?
Here.
Mr. Robiel is also out of the country. Mr. Sanchez?
I'm here.
We have quorum, sir.
Okay. All right, can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is to our back here. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of our January 9th meeting?
I so move.
I second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 1.
Mr. Chair, the applicant is not here yet, so if I can go out of order.
Okay.
Since agenda item number 4, they are here. I'm missing 2 representatives
Okay.
for the front lot and agenda item 3. Would it be okay if we went out of order?
Yes, certainly.
So we wouldn't.
With no objections, let's move to item agenda.
It's terrible? Okay, so agenda item number 4. On July 2015, the CRA board awarded a $250,000 rehabilitation grant to Choquette's doing business as Cafe Creme LLC to open up a restaurant at 750 Northeast 125th Street. Despite numerous delays, and you were all part of it, as I would give you updates, the county permitting process itself took more than 6 months, and several delays from contractors and so on kind of made the project run over by at least 6 months. So they did finally open this past October, and they have been doing very well, and I'm pretty sure some of you did attend the grand opening, and so on and so forth. When they had come to us, they had originally requested for $350,000, and we had said, well, we're only comfortable doing $250 because that's what we've done in the past, and so on and so forth. Due to the cost overruns, the project actually ended up costing $764,000. They are here asking if the committee would consider helping them with the cost overruns by giving them an additional grant of $70,000 to cover those costs. One other item also is that is your property, so.
I have to recuse myself.
Yeah, Mr. Reynolds will have to recuse himself.
And I'm going to step away, actually.
Okay. All right.
And just a couple of things, like through that time, from the year and a half, they were paying rent, and they were paying other expenses and so on, and dealing with the permitting and so on and so forth. So they actually even had to take out an additional loan to cover these extra expenses and so on. The reason why we felt it was a good thing to bring it up to the board and for you to consider, and that we consider it's a good idea, is for 2 reasons. One, they had originally told us what it was going to cost. Us not being as experienced in opening up these type of restaurants, we erred in the side of caution. We gave them a lesser amount of the grant and so on. Since the restaurant has opened, they've had several events, several people have rented it, we have more people patronizing the downtown, and also, I have to say, I've met 5 new businesses just sitting at the restaurant, understanding like how the grant process works because of that are now looking for space. I'm working with Sam Blatt of the Economic Development Department to find space for them and for them to come and apply for grants. I have a French designer furniture store. I have a beauty salon and spa. They have one right now on Biscayne Boulevard and 69th Street. I have the vodka distillery company. I have 2 other restaurants. And at this point, and I have one gentleman, he does video game designs. So he needs a space for coders to relocate his space here. into our, you know, North Miami. So it may not even come to the downtown, but it'll be in the vicinity. I also have a bagels deli, that's coming, and I'm trying to finalize some space for them. So just the publicity that we got as a result of a successful business that we invested in has brought fruit, and at this point, we're just, you know, fielding the calls and trying to see where we can, you know, place them. I've also attached for your review the articles that we've gotten as a result of top 10 best things to do in North Miami. You know, Captain Jim's Cafe Creme and Canastric were on there, the first top 10, and also the other articles that we got as a result of. So we've gotten quite a bit of good positive press as a result. The gentlemen are here if you have any additional questions.
Okay, can you come up and introduce yourselves?
Messieurs, dames, bonsoir. My name is Claude Postel. I'm a co-owner of Cafe Creme, and I'm there to talk about what just Russia told you, you know, and we hope, you know, we go get okay from you guys.
Good evening, my name is Corey Fino. I'm a Claude business partner at Cafe Creme across the street.
Okay. Anybody, basically these costs, the money that you're asking for is due to additional costs, obviously, that you've incurred because of the delays and that kind of thing. Nothing, it's not about any kind of new project or
No.
renovation. It's simply about trying to make up for the time that it
they
took you
lost.
to make it up.
Yeah, and I have a breakdown of the spreadsheet, if you see in the back of the cover
Yeah, we
memo, it
saw that.
shows the actual expenses. And for instance, it's not just the time for the permitting, and I think we've discussed that before. The county assesses impact fees. The sidewalk, even though the city gave them that portion, the county charged them a $14,000 impact fee just for the seating, yes. Not for any, yes,
In our city.
yes.
Now how can it?
Because that's how they do, Durham does that for impact fees. So even though I worked with them to help them mitigate the impact fees from the inside of the restaurant, as you recall, I had to show that Starbucks was there 10 years ago. The sidewalk, they had to pay an additional $14,000 to the county for that. And it has nothing to do with the actual service, but this is the law. This is how it is. And so just to say, they, you know, those are it's part of doing business with the county.
I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that. If your impact fee, I understand, would be like inside, but how does that affect the environment?
Because of the
Utilize
wastewater and all that other kind of thing.
Utilize the sidewalk. They're utilizing public space,
Yes.
which is owned by the city of North Miami.
Yes.
And they're getting hit for a $14,000 bill from the county on an environmental
Because we're using
impact
a
deal
space.
where there is no. Guys, tell me, what did they tell you, please? I don't mean to.
No, they just asked us to
They are hungry money.
No, I mean, it was the only thing they asked us for paying. Not,
Because, I mean, is it because we're breathing air that we might take?
No, it's about the sewage
Yeah,
and
but
all
this
the,
was
you know, the impact
I
of the.
understand that inside the business, but outside.
No,
It is how it is with the county, but the issue is those were unexpected expenses in addition to the delays of dealing with the county, so. No, for the just one time,
Just one time.
one-time fee
Yeah.
that they had to pay.
Is that for every business that?
Any business that kinda either changes the use or wants to increase the capacity, they will charge you an impact fee.
Additional
Yeah,
impact
they
fee,
would
yeah.
just, even if they don't provide you water, cause the city provides the water, for them, it's like
The sewer
sewer
treatment, I
usage and
understand.
so on, so they charge you something like that.
Okay, well,
Okay.
all I can say is that I think that Cafe Creme's been a wonderful addition to our downtown. And I think that you brought a lot of business here, which is very, very worthwhile. And I think you've become a little stimulus to that downtown core, and we certainly appreciate everything that you do. You still don't have cheesecake yet, but we'll work on that.
I will do it, sir, I will do it.
You know, but it certainly has been, has been a great addition. Certainly has been a great addition to downtown, so. So does anybody have any questions of the gentleman or comments?
Well,
You know,
I
yeah,
think
motion.
since they've been down here, it's very, very
Yeah.
nice to me.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the request? Okay, we all do?
I need a
Okay.
second. I have a motion. Second, Geimer.
Blanca made the second. Okay,
Either.
guys? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Right? No, yeah, exactly. So, well, Valentine's is on the 14th, the board, they better not be bringing chocolate. All right, agenda item number 1,
Okay.
all right, is Haitian Neighborhood Center. Excuse me,
You can come back now.
the meeting is in order.
You can come back.
Thank
Yeah, you can come back, Clark.
commenting on how many croissants will it take.
All right,
No, it's getting Mike's cheesecake.
exactly.
How many
So
croissants
agenda
do you
item
have to
number
say?
1 is the
No, that's a,
Haitian Neighborhood Center Saint-La Rehabilitation Grant Request. Before you is Madame Gypsy Metelus, Executive Director of Saint-La. She has submitted an application for rehab for a property located at 13390 and -94 West Dixie Highway. For those of you that are not familiar, Saint-La is a nonprofit 501c3 organization with mission to empower, strengthen, and stabilize South Florida's Haitian community through access to free services and resources. They offer an array of services such as health insurance enrollment, reemployment assistance, promoting healthy lifestyle habits, free tax preparation, self-sufficiency programs, and some youth activities as well. This past year, Saint-La's 12 employees served 9,736 clients, of which 1,500 were North Miami residents. We are very fortunate that Saint-La was able to move into our community. Originally, she was, like I said, on Biscayne Boulevard and 50th at 5,000, and I think it's a wonderful addition to have Saint-La in the heart of North Miami. The work that she's asking to do is to install glass partitions, floorings, electronic security systems, ceiling tile replacements, and ADA compliant bathroom fixtures. She's provided 3 bids. There are no violations on the property. However, I need to make note of 2 things. This property had received a grant from the board that was the old Sims music hobby shop and everything, and they did a very good job, I have to say, rehabbing it with the grant that we provided. We had given them a $50,000 grant to do impact windows and doors, paint it, awning, and also fence the backyard. They did a great job at it, and of course, they got a tenant, and Saint-La is taking over most like 80% of the building, first and second floor. So we will need to ask a waiver from the committee because as you know, we have in our grant guidelines that a property has to wait 5 years to get another grant, and since we provided them a grant in 2015, we're asking for a waiver of that. Additionally, the 50-50 match request, normally we would ask also a waiver of that. It's actually 53.47%. The total cost of the project is $152,000. And we are requesting approval of the $80,000 match for the cost of the construction. If you see in the back of the page, you'll notice the total cost of projects. Saint-La is taking on the cost for the flooring, the painting, the fixtures, the partitions, the furniture. For all the other expenses, they're asking us to provide them with an $80,000 grant to finish the actual construction of the partitions and so on and so forth. So, and lastly, Saint-La was very happy, although she's already providing services for 1,500 North Miami resident, we asked her to provide 300 services to 300 non-recurring North Miami residents, would help with job assistance for the next 5 years. So,
okay.
we
Would you
think
like
it's an
to
addition,
step up and introduce
a
yourself?
wonderful addition to the community.
Good evening, everyone. Gypsy Metelus, Executive Director of Saint-La Haitian Neighborhood Center. I happen to have the pleasure of knowing and working with many of you. And so I certainly hope that you will support this application. We're thrilled to be in North Miami. In fact, the majority of our clients, even though we lived on Biscayne Boulevard for about 16 years, the majority of the folks we serve actually came from North Miami. And so when this opportunity presented itself. We thought it was timely, it was strategic. It is a time, it's a wonderful time to be in North Miami. Wonderful things are happening, and we hope to also enhance those wonderful things.
Yeah. Well, we certainly, I can speak to observing this organization work over the years. It's almost 20 years old, I believe, right? And they've been around quite a long time, and they've done an awful lot of good in this community for a lot of people, and we applaud all the efforts that you have done. So, does anyone have any questions before we take? We have a couple votes.
Yeah,
We
you have to make
two
two votes.
Yeah.
Any
Does anybody have any
Well,
questions?
I don't have a question, but I think something are doing a good job. Because myself, I refer people to them on the jobs, and I think they're doing a good job.
Mhm.
Over those are Biscayne Boulevard, and I expect the same thing in North Miami also.
Right.
Oh, more.
Very good. Thank you.
More.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, the first vote is the
The
waiver
first waiver for the time requirement
between
of the grant guidelines.
the grant guidelines. We gave 50,000 to the owner of the property.
20 Northeast LLC.
Right.
I
So,
make a motion that we waive.
okay, do I hear a second? Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the second motion is the actual
Grant.
approval
Mhm.
of the grant request.
Mhm.
Make
Any
a motion that we.
second? Any questions on that? Okay, all right, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Gypsy, welcome to North Miami.
Thank you very much. It's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Welcome.
Next
Yeah.
week,
Now I
so-
just need to move physically.
Yeah, right.
My home used to be in North
Very
Miami.
good.
Right. Yes, you do need to move to North Miami now.
Yeah, you know our house, yes, exactly.
All right. Oh,
All right.
it's the agenda item number 2. It's timely
Mhm.
that our attorney is walking in because that will probably be his to answer any questions. Before you, agenda item number 2 is a resolution to consider the CRA modification request that was in the second interlocal agreement. As you recall, we've been working with the county and city to finalize extending the life of the CRA, and the last interlocal changes that were put upon us at the December meeting that we approved was that we would consider modifying the boundaries of the CRA to make it smaller, and we needed to provide all of this and have it, and also modify our plan that we had approved this past February and bring it to the county so we wouldn't sunset as of July 1st. Upon further discussion and review, the city manager and council people felt that the requirement was a little bit, is a huge hardship for us. So what we're providing you is the original CRA boundaries for you to see, which is the first one. And the proposed CRA boundary map, as you can see, removes all the residential areas as per the request from the district commissioner. There are several reasons why the manager felt that it was not appropriate for us to do this. One is it is a hardship for residents, and I think Mr. Each mentioned it at the last meeting, that, you know, property owners, this area is still slum and blighted. We haven't had an opportunity to provide any rehab or any relief to these properties, and now that we have the opportunity, because our TIF has gone up and so on, now we're being asked to shrink it. 2, based on our housing comp plan that the CP&D had done, those areas, we have existing substandard housing that we need to fix. So we do have the inventory of substandard housing that we need to repair. We just need to be given the opportunity. 3, making such a change without a proper finding of necessity to explain why did we do any improvements, we feel would hinder our possibility or our ability to take out a bond or loan in the future. The city manager has spoken to other attorneys, and he knows, I think he mentioned, I think the CRA in Overtown had such an issue where they did something and they didn't go through the proper process, and it negatively affected their ability to bond out. So because of that, the manager's bringing forward for the committee and the board and the city council to consider going back to the county and say, we would like to remove that requirement from the interlocal and leave the geography as is so that we can do the work. So the resolution that you see here that's going to the CRA board next week and to the city council that Mr. Zelkowitz drafted is pretty much saying that we're modifying the interlocal to remove the requirement to reduce the boundaries of the CRA and to leave it as with the original boundaries.
Okay, Steve,
Mr.
do you wanna speak
Zelkowitz
a
is
little
here
on
if you have
this?
any questions.
The only thing that I would add is that what we're doing is we're modifying the prior approval. So this committee, the CRA board, and the city council have already approved the second amendment to the interlocal agreement with the county. And so we're not going back to reapprove the agreement, we're just modifying that one particular section. So this isn't a second bite at the apple, this is just modifying the approval that we previously made.
Okay.
According to this, the only properties that we would consider are the red ones, right?
Yes, the commercial corridors, that's what they wanted. They wanted to remove all these, pretty much the residential, the single family
And nothing for residential.
Nothing for residential,
It would
so
just
we
be
want.
Steve, why would this, if we went this way, why would it possibly endanger the ability to borrow?
Well, there's also potentially the requirement to have to do another finding of necessity. When you change the boundaries to make them larger, they require you to do a new finding of necessity. And there's an argument that could be made that we could have to do that to make it smaller as well.
Right, if you don't do that, then you're not in compliance with the law?
Perhaps.
Is that right?
Perhaps, because every CRA, in order to be formed and to change its boundaries, you should make it larger, to add property, there's a statutory requirement. The county attorney's office brought it up, said it was okay, we brought it up, said maybe, but at the end of the day, when you go out to bond, someone's gotta give an opinion.
Right.
That everything has been done in accordance with the applicable statutes.
If you were to shrink it, how do you say, well, this is not, these blighted areas no longer are
Or
not
blighted, that's the
necessity.
whole issue.
That's the whole issue.
That's the whole issue.
Mhm.
You know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago now, they were determined to be blighted, so why shouldn't they be in the CRA redevelopment area? Did we complete our mission of alleviating slum and blight in those areas that they should be removed?
Right, what has changed?
I understand, I see where you're going.
Chasing your tail, really.
So when this goes before the county, I guess that argument will be made, right? That you
Yes.
can't do this without doing the finding of necessity. And how do you justify the finding of necessity when
Right.
the slum and blight still is there?
And the argument is we have an unfinished mission.
Pretty much.
In other words, the need still exists, correct? So therefore.
As far as I know, yeah.
So basically, the mission that they approved us for in the beginning hasn't been completed, it's still there. So why would they remove that then from?
How would you justify shrinking it, yeah?
It was the
Exactly.
county that requested it, so I guess you would put the responsibility on the county to explain, the county person,
Exactly.
to explain.
So
You know,
basically, you want us to approve this?
That-
Right, to approve the resolution,
Right.
basically, to
No.
advise the board to adopt the resolution.
To shrink the area and still have the blight out there, and those people contributed to the TIF to improve other areas of the city, to alleviate the blight in other areas.
Mhm.
And they would not get the benefit of it, that would be grossly unfair to those people. Is that an argument to be made? I mean, wouldn't that be taxation now without representation or something like that?
Well.
I mean, to me, it seems that if I contributed to it, and there's blight in my neighborhood, then that blight should be corrected eventually. And why should I contribute to it for 10 years, and now all of a sudden, boom, I'm taken out of it, and the blight is still existing? It would be grossly unfair, I think, to the citizens of that area.
I think it's the same argument, basically,
Yeah.
that they haven't been, the slum and
Haven't
blight
been
hasn't been
served.
alleviated, the mission's incomplete.
Right.
I remember from New York, I'm a little slow.
I have a question. In order to put it bigger or smaller, we need to justify that. Then why they don't justify? Why they want us to put it smaller?
Well, and that's why we're taking this position. That's why the CRA committee, the advisory committee, the board, and the city will hopefully take that position, because there doesn't seem to be a reason to do that. It was, and it's, I think it's revenue neutral to the county, because they get all this money back from
Yeah,
the
we
west side.
refund them the west side every year,
All the
so
So they're
they
not
don't.
really, they're not really benefiting.
That's
No.
right. So it's not like we're
They don't have a
taking,
say,
you know,
actually.
TIF from the
Sure.
county,
Right.
from those areas.
Will it increase the amount of money we have? If
In
we
what
could-
sense?
If the budget that we have now is based on the commercial boundaries, right?
We would get less. from
No,
the
it'd be the same. It's revenue neutral to us
Right.
as well.
Well, no, but
Oh, no, we
they
wouldn't get-
changed the 95%.
We wouldn't
they
get the
just-
city's portion
Yeah, we wouldn't
of
get
the
the city
TIF from the west side.
from the west side.
So that's gonna be an additional revenue for us.
No.
No, we get that now. It'd be a
We're
decrease in
now-
revenue.
Right.
If we change the boundaries and we shrink them, on the west side, the TIF goes, the county
Less.
TIF goes back to the county.
No
It gets
matter
Right,
refunded.
I understand.
Okay?
So
And
city
the
then-
city TIF from the west side stays in the redevelopment trust fund.
I
So we
understand.
wouldn't
To help
get,
with
we
the
wouldn't,
slum and
the
blight.
CRA would not get that TIF anymore. It would be in the city's general fund.
I understand, okay.
So keeping it the way it is now would keep that money in the fund to help the neighborhood that it was supposed to help.
And as you recall, the plan that we adopted,
Okay.
speaks for, you know, working with the property owners to rehab and activate the programs that we used to have. And also, the part of the interlocal is, remember, there's a piece of legislation that says that we should spend 10% of our budget on housing, affordable housing, and workforce housing. If you were to do that in the shrunken geography, then you're only helping the multifamily
Right.
renters along the major corridor and not the single-family property owner.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the
I do.
resolution?
I second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
all right, next item, agenda item number 3. Okay, before you, as you recall, apart from having the plan approved, we did a study for our marketing and branding campaign, and then Sharon McCormick did a presentation and so on. And as you can tell, first off, our logo has changed to match somewhat what the city logo, and so now this is part 2, which is the implementation part of the branding and marketing strategic plan. What you have before you is the proposal from RMA. It's not to exceed $83,000, which is the amount that is in our budget that was approved. It's to do the downtown Know Me branding campaign to include the pole banners along the corridor, the walkers' guides, development of a business and developer-friendly CRA website to showcase our current and future CRA initiatives so that developers and businesses can actually access quality information, and which is also very easier to navigate. Right now, it's not user-friendly. Development and maintenance of a social media feed to cross-promote all CRA-sponsored events, Jazz at Mocha, Nomads, and any other special events that we're doing to attract additional businesses and to promote grand openings and new businesses. There are 2 staff members from RMA here in case you have any question, but I also I attached from the marketing plan that was presented what we're talking about, so you can remember what we said we were gonna do. So the electric poles along the downtown corridor, now we're gonna talk to business owners along the downtown, all over the downtown corridor, to take pictures of them. We have some musicians through Jazz at Mocha that have agreed to let us take pictures and so on, and they're going to be the face of the To Know Me is to Love Me campaign, and we're gonna have the banners, you know, bordering the downtown corridor so that people can identify the downtown
Now,
corridor.
is this part of the RFP that went out?
No, we don't, this is marketing, there's no RFP,
No marketing?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a RFP that went out on this?
no.
No, we don't do an RFP on it?
Not for that particular item, no. I do have 3 bids, I did get 3 bids, from others. The challenge I had was everybody wanted to like redo my campaign, but this is the campaign that we've adopted. So, yeah, but I did check, and that's one of the items that I don't, need to do an RFP on. In addition to that, they also have piggyback contracts with the
Mhm.
city, the CRA, Margate CRA, and Delray Beach CRA. for the
Mhm.
website design and for their marketing and branding campaign.
Mhm.
Okay? So if you have any questions, like I said, Kevin Crowder is here to answer any questions you might have.
Kevin, how are you?
Very
well. Come on up and say hi.
Nice to see you. Haven't been here a few meetings,
Yes, you
so
have.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
everyone.
Year.
And I've introduced also, Sharon McCormick's out of town, just visiting family, but Sarah Blake is the number 2 in the marketing department, so is here as well. We can answer any questions that you have.
Okay.
But we're glad to see you move into the next, keep moving forward with the plan and implementing.
Onward and upward, that kind of thing. Does anybody have any questions of RMA?
Just had a quick question for either Rosh or Kevin. So this is your letter agreement that you usually provide to us, and then we're going to do our own, usually do our own consulting agreement. We'll attach this as the scope of work.
Correct.
Okay. Looks good to me.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I so moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you
you soon.
very much.
See you soon.
Bye.
Good things are gonna start happening.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
Okay, I think we're through our agenda items. The
Yes.
CRA attorney, do you have a report for us, sir?
Nothing in particular, I will say. I just attended and spoke at as a lecturer at the ABA conference here in Miami on land use from the, and there was a lot of different subjects which were pertinent to CRAs, and I lectured on P3 projects, and talked a little bit about what's happening in North Miami, Hallandale Beach, and other ones I've done for other cities. North Miami Beach, the soccer program that I think Rosh was there when that came through, and it was great. So I may have some materials that I'll give to Rosh. We'll hand out to everybody.
Okay, great.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we,
Yep.
CRA,
The
you want to talk to us
executive
about
director.
Chinatown?
Yes. As you know, the committee and the board voted to hire Keith and Schnars as the designer for the Chinatown master plan. We're moving
Mhm.
full speed ahead. Right now, we're working on the economic analysis aspect of it. We've scheduled our first community workshop, which is March 1st at the Joe Celestine Center. We are providing dinner to make sure that everybody's able to come. I'd like to pass it around. I have a lot for you also, because you're, also Ms. Geimer is, I want to remind you, on the Chinatown Steering Committee, representing, as a resident of that area. So if you have any questions or concerns, you should always talk to Ms. Geimer. In addition to the workshop that we're doing, the website that they're preparing will be launched sometime next week. We are working also, apart from the community outreach aspect, but getting surveys completed for them. They need to get a lot of feedback apart from the workshop so they can start working on the plan and on the design. We had like a 3-hour session with the Chinatown Steering Committee talking about everything from what we want to see there, as in like an open plaza, green space, what type of businesses to see, and so on and so forth. And Ms. Geimer was there also. I think it was very fruitful. They got a lot out of it. They're using what was said by the steering committee members to frame the workshop. I don't know if you were aware, but the steering committee has a member of the Pekin Council, Ms. Sherry Cola-Gervais, the dean from FIU, Ms. Geimer, a representative from the Chinese American community, Jeffy Mondesir as a business owner on 7th Avenue, and myself and Tanya Williams-Sejour from the planning department as the core steering committee. So we're the ones that are helping Keith and Schnars stay on track and making sure that everything that's said is done. After the March 1st meeting, they're going to go back and work on the design and so on and so forth. Then we're going to have a second meeting to show to the community to make sure that everybody has a greater understanding of what it is that we're doing. And finally, when we're done with the design, which should be done in June, we are having a huge showcase in July that we're working on for these Chinese investors that have been calling and coming and so on. We felt it's beneficial to have them all come and see the design as opposed to having to come and do tours and talk to us, and we don't really have anything yet to discuss. Yeah, so it's better for me too, because my Chinese is eh. I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of this, and you tell friends, colleagues, business owners, property owners, and even people outside of the city, because this is the regional Chinatown. We will be the Chinatown for South Florida and Florida. Okay?
Okay, great.
Questions?
Thank you, Rasha, appreciate it.
Are they looking to acquire a lot of property around Seventh Avenue?
Yes. Yes. The property owners that don't want to sell can stay. What's going to come out of the master plan is the design, so we will be doing like a facade of, like if it was Popular Bank, it would say in English and in Chinese with the Chinese theme. Design, like Burger King, if Burger King, decides to stay and not sell, that's what it would look like. But the other properties that they're looking to buy, as they buy them, the guideline is going to tell them what it's supposed to be there, what it's supposed to look like. I don't know if you remember, but with the comp plan, you can go up to 20 stories on the east side. So what does that mean? They need to have parking. And also FDOT had a meeting a couple of weeks ago to talk about redoing 7th Avenue. To our benefit, they're talking about a road diet, meaning they're going to remove lanes on 7th Avenue. It's part of their Complete Streets project. It's not coming here until 2020, which gives us enough time to work on what we need to do. But they're already starting from like 79th Street North. So they had a community meeting, I think, like a couple of weeks ago at the Joe Celestine Center, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't here, I was out of town. And they were talking about it to get feedback. So it kind of fits well with what we're trying to do, because you want the sidewalks to be wider, you want people to be able to cross the street, and I feel like they're running for their lives to go on either side to patronize the businesses. So it kind of helps for that. Okay?
Okay.
Are you going to be sending these out to all the property?
Yes, yes. We're sending them out via email, hard copy, we're printing them out right now. But my concern right now is the surveys, because I'd like to, as we have people distributing them, to get them to do the surveys or go online and do the surveys for us as well. We're going to do a press release also to make sure that the Biscayne Times and the Miami Herald are aware of what we're doing in the Miami Times and so on. And the homeowners associations will be notified as well. Okay?
Okay. Any other? Okay. By the way, before we, just like to recognize Terry Henley's here. Terry, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
From our city staff. And always remember Terry as he was one of the three who jumped into the gap way back when. So with Duke Story, our now Assistant Deputy City Manager, and Rasha. And so we always have a special place for Terry Henley because of all of his help with Rasha and Duke in getting the CRA straight and getting it approved. So thanks, Terry. Anyway, no public comments. So any old business? Any new business?
I just have a question for you, Jared.
Sure.
What we're asking the county to do with the CRA, what are we asking to modify what they've done? When do you think that will go before the county?
It's going to the CRA board next week, the city council on the 28th, right after that, so they'll be getting it by March 1st for them to work on it.
Sometime you think sometime in March or in April?
April.
April?
April, because we have to get it resolved before the July 1st deadline.
Right.
So it has to be on the April agenda.
Okay.
Committee, and then it goes to the BCC. And they've created different committees this year. Again.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Thank you all.
Stephen, I need your signature.
So what's up?